generous proposal. Are you in or are you out?
It's you who's out, Gobby. Out of your mind.
Shh. Spoilers ahead. What's up, Danger? Hello, everybody, and welcome to Cinemattraction. Into the Spider-Verse. I'm your host, Heat Guy J, and with me is Cold to the Bone
Venom leggings.
We need to talk about a bit about that, don't we?
We certainly do.
About our cinema experience.
We do.
Yes.
So how are you?
I'm very good. How are you?
I'm very well. What have you seen this week?
This week I saw a film called Hackers that you recommended last week to me. I think we were talking about the Matrix episode, and I was saying about
there was Hackers. Johnny Mnemonic.
So I like wanted to look at it because I'd never seen it before.
Have you seen Johnny Mnemonic yet?
I have seen it,
okay.
But I don't think I liked it.
No, it's terrible.
No, I think Hackers is a lot better.
Isn't there like one with Denzel called Virtuosity or something like that?
There is. I don't think I've ever seen that.
Okay.
I don't think I've ever seen that one.
Right.
But yes. So anyway, our experience, we went to see Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse.
We did,
this week, didn't
in preparation for this episode.
In preparation.
And because it looked like fun.
Yes. And what happened? What happened, John? The lady said what to you? She said that she liked my Spider-Man t-shirt.
I like your shirt.
Yeah, and she said that you were boring.
She said that, yeah, so
Your denim shirt was boring.
The lady at the ticket thingy,
Yes.
where we bought the tickets from, the concessions, she complimented you on your Spider-Man t-shirt, your
did.
red Spider-Man t-shirt
She
that you were wearing. I like your shirt. And she didn't mention your socks, but I suppose she couldn't see your Spider-Man socks either, could she?
They could have been hidden.
But she said that my denim shirt was boring.
She did, and I liked your denim shirt.
I like my denim shirt.
I was wearing a denim jacket.
You were wearing a denim jacket?
I dig on denim, yeah. So next time, John is going, when we go next time to see Beyond the Spider-Verse, you're going to wear some Venom leggings, a Spider-Man t-shirt, and a Spider-Man pendant.
And, maybe a hat.
Yeah, a cap.
Cap.
Yeah, a cap.
A Captain America cap.
What about Spider-Man face paint? The Spider-Man mask face paint.
Yeah.
And then you could say to her, now don't tell me I look boring.
Yeah. The funny thing would be that she's just not working that night when we go in there and I've just gone to all this trouble.
Yeah, exactly. People just think, wow, this guy's really into these films.
Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse is an animated superhero film based on the popular comic book series, a critical and commercial success upon its 2018 release, taking $384 million from a $19 million budget, grabbing the Best Animated Feature Oscar along the way. Spawning a sequel, which we'll be discussing shortly, as well as a third film Beyond the Spider-Verse due in 2024. We're doing parts 1 and 2 today, but I have a plan for the third film.
Oh, you do?
A quick synopsis. We follow New York teenager Miles Morales, who is bitten by a radioactive spider, gaining superhuman spider-like abilities. Enter William Fisk, aka Kingpin, who has an elaborate fancy pants collider to access parallel universes with the hope of bringing back his deceased wife and son, whose deaths he blames on the friendly neighbourhood Spider-Man. Miles finds himself involved in a scuffle between Spider-Man and Kingpin, who has the Green Goblin and the Prowler on his side. Kingpin kills Superman.
Superman?
And Miles escapes with a USB device which can disable the collider.
Nobody can kill Superman.
Miles sets out to become the new Spider-Man, damaging the USB device in the process. Miles allies with an older Spider-Man from another dimension, and Miles uncovers some gnarly powers, such as the abilities to launch electronic venom bursts and invisibility. During an operation to infiltrate a lab in order to steal data and create a new USB device, Peter encounters mad scientist Olivia Octavius, who reveals that Peter will essentially disintegrate if he remains in this dimension. They also meet Gwen Stacy, a Spider-Woman from another dimension. Miles reveals himself to be another Spider-Man to his Uncle Aaron, who happens to be the Prowler. Just as Prowler is about to kill him, Kingpin kills Aaron, Uncle Aaron. And a final scrap between Miles and Kingpin takes place, which sees Miles win and Kingpin being arrested. A witty, emotional, cutting-edge and action-packed story, and a true audio-sensory feast. What do you think of Spider-Verse?
Very cool and very sexy.
What?
Very cool and very sexy.
Okay.
This movie is just a visual feast.
It is.
For the eyes.
Treat.
It is, but I love the fact that the story is not just look at this, it's pretty.
Yeah.
It's got a heart, it's got story, it's got really nice rounded out characters that
Absolutely.
you care about.
Yeah.
I mean, like Miles Morales, he's just so likable.
Yeah.
And you're rooting for him.
Yeah.
Even though I think he should have called himself Spider-Man 2. He's Spider-Man 2.
Okay, what do you think of Shameik Moore as Miles Morales?
Yeah, I really like his voice. I think his voice is really suited to.
I know, he's about 30, isn't he? But he
Yeah,
doesn't
I
sound-
know, but he's got a very young sounding voice, and I really think it suits. Because every time I see him,
Yeah.
I see a picture of him, I think, no, that doesn't go with.
No.
That doesn't go with the character's
Doesn't
voice.
really.
No,
No, not at
Where
all.
a lot of the other characters' voices, you can. I mean, Haley
Steinfeld.
She's not really got the most distinctive voice, so I suppose her voice is good for the thing. You know.
Yeah. It can sort of disappear with into the
Yeah,
character.
so you're not listening to it like I did this morning, where I'm like, "That's Chris Pine."
Yes.
That's Chris Pine.
Yeah.
All I can hear is Chris Pine.
Chris Pine.
You know.
Yeah, definitely.
Even Catherine Hahn. I mean, I know Catherine Hahn. I love Catherine Hahn personally.
We all love Catherine Hahn.
After WandaVision,
After
I
WandaVision.
really did love Catherine
Absolutely.
Hahn.
You can also tell it's Nicolas Cage.
You definitely tell it's Nicolas Cage, but I mean, Catherine Hahn, you can't really tell it's her either.
No.
So
Yeah, they sort of disappear. They're really well cast, and they sort of
Yeah.
disappear into the roles really well.
yeah, really well. I really like the fact that
But generally speaking, as you say, Chris Pine and Nicolas Cage do stick out a bit.
their voices are quite distinctive, aren't they?
Yeah.
I mean, like Lev Schreiber.
Yeah, brilliant.
Who did? I didn't notice him.
Yeah,
So
incredible.
I mean, until you see the credits, you're not going to notice him.
No.
So the only voice that I did pick out was Stan Lee's.
In the costumey store thing. Yeah, sure.
Gee whiz.
But I think it's just. I think so many people love it, and I think it's just really accessible to everybody.
Yeah, so it's...
Just everybody can just really enjoy it. It's just a great film to watch. It's a great adventure.
Yeah. I think Spider-Man's story is the most universal story.
Yeah.
He's an awkward teen who becomes an awkward hero.
Yeah.
And I think that's universally relatable.
And I did notice a few things. When Miles falls off one of the buildings, he hits a taxi cab,
Okay.
and the numbers fall off the top.
Okay.
And he's laying next to 40 and 2. And that's the number of the spider that bit him, isn't it?
There
42.
we are. Oh, how many other hidden 42s are there?
That's what I'm wondering.
Oh, no.
Because I noticed that one,
You
and
have
I'm
to
like,
keep rewatching it.
"Whoa, okay,
Oh, no.
yeah." But yeah, I mean, every time I see this film, I always finish watching it, and
just feel good.
feel good, and I just feel wowed. You know, kind of like, wow,
It's
that
so
was
fresh.
great.
Yeah, it looks and feels like an animated comic book.
Yeah.
The care and execution to detail is absolutely astounding.
Beautiful.
It samples different looks
Yeah.
and visual movements, styles and techniques and things like that, such as pulpy 30s noir with obviously Nicolas Cage's character, to anime.
Yeah.
You know, there's also that color spilling, ghosting.
Yeah.
You know that you
That funny blurring sort.
But
of,
you'd have that
it's-
in comics, wouldn't you?
You would, because it's printing, isn't it?
Exactly, that kind of ink spill,
That's
if
it,
that makes
yeah.
sense. Yeah. Again, it's the attention to detail is absolutely outstanding.
I just love the fact that each of the different spider people come from like a different version of like art media.
Yes.
So you know, like Gwanda comes from you know like watercolor.
Yes,
world.
we'll talk about that probably a bit more in the next one because there's
Yeah.
that takes that to a whole different level into
It
the
does.
next movie.
And to be honest, I didn't notice her when I've watched this film before, because I've seen this film about maybe 5-6 times.
Sure.
I never noticed Gwen's world as much as after I'd seen the second one.
Yeah,
When I'm
well-
watching the bits where I'm like, oh
Yeah.
that is.
Yeah, you're
Like
in
that.
her world a lot more in the second
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
And we'll
you
talk about
notice
that
it
in
a lot
moment.
more, yeah.
Yeah. So there's no motion blur.
Yeah.
No motion blur, which I quite like because most modern sort of CG and animated films have that kind of motion blur
Yeah.
to them. If you don't like
When you're
that.
watching it, you can see it blurring, can't you?
Yeah, just that. I
it's
think
not a clear
I think
image.
it's called keyframing, isn't
Right,
it?
is it?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think it's that. Like you get in most animated
Yeah.
movies nowadays. The movements are very choppy in this.
Yeah.
The frame rate fluctuates.
That's what I
between-
like, because some of the characters look a bit kind of like almost like they're stop motion.
Yeah,
So it gives or puppety.
yeah. It fluctuates between 24 frames per second and 12 frames
Right.
per second, which the filmmakers use in service to the narrative.
Yeah.
So early Miles, you have to differentiate. Miles Spider-Man is animated in 12 frames while he's inexperienced.
Right.
Yeah, and he's working out his new abilities. In relation to
so he looks clumsy.
So he's inexperienced with his abilities.
Yeah.
So
he's not smooth.
He's not smooth.
Yeah.
He's not 24 frames. He's 12. He's half that. Certainly the mentor Spider-Men. You could count Chris Pine's Spider-Man, I suppose, as a sort of mentor, I suppose, who are greatly experienced in their respective abilities, and are animated at the smoother 24 frames. I think I hope audiences kind of recognise that, see that, and think, oh, well, actually, that's really quite a clever, because you can see him at 12 and him at 24 moving in the same frame. And I think it's really clever.
It is so clever. I mean, the way they've made this. I mean, I don't think there's
attention to detail.
I don't think there's like a movie that's actually been made like this. I mean, it's just so unique.
Yeah.
And the different, like I said, the different mediums that they're using. You know, they're using anime, they're using watercolors, they're using, comic book style.
Yeah. That kind of pop art. And also that
pop
kind of
art.
half-tone kind of dot. Yeah, I love that.
And the fact they stepped it up in the second one, I couldn't even believe it.
There's up to 100 in the second
I
one.
couldn't even, because this one is up to 100, I consider.
Outstanding.
So,
I'm over the moon that there's a third one coming.
Yeah, I am.
And I cannot wait to see it. We'll talk about that in a moment. There are some great and suitably energetic and very, very soulful. We'll be talking about this again in the sequel, Needle Drops.
Oh, I like a lot of the music in this film.
Yeah.
I really love that. What's up, Danger? That's your boy, innit? Kendrick, innit?
Is it Kendrick?
Is it Kendrick?
I don't
thought
know.
it was.
We might need to research that.
I think it was. I think it is Kendrick.
Okay. But Daniel Pemberton's score, he's a British guy actually, is great in itself. So there's some lovely needle drops.
I did notice like the score is very good.
It's really good. Really complements the events.
And I love the Prowler bits where you get that funny sound every time he's.
Sound design as well.
The sound design is fantastic.
Really
and Prowler, I was going to say, I want to talk about.
Ali. Yeah, he's really good.
Prowler is a character that is not really that well known.
No.
Which they have really made. It's kind of like with Iron Man. Iron Man was never the most popular character.
Yeah.
But they've actually the MCU have made Iron Man like one of the top characters now.
Absolutely.
He's up there now.
Yeah.
And for me, Prowler is up there with the villains now because of this film, because he is the performance from.
It's made a really good low-key villain more prominent.
Yeah, a bit like what they did with WandaVision. They made two characters you didn't really care about that much in the films.
Yeah,
and then by the end of the show, you're
like, wow, yeah. Just imagine if you fleshed out some of these characters more.
I love every scene. To be honest, I love every scene.
Imagine if you fleshed out like Bill Murray's character in Quantum. You know what I mean? Like all these these nothing characters in the recent movies.
Yeah.
Imagine if you bothered to flesh them out. You'd have some really good stories there.
Well, to be honest, I mean, it's like this film. This film is like a perfect Spider-Man film because they've rounded out all the characters. Gwen's got her problems that we see more in the second one. You find out Peter B. Parker's got a lot of issues.
He's
and
got
problems.
Okay.
So
he's the reluctant mentor from another dimension.
Yes.
He's jaded and really shabby.
Oh, I love him.
And he's dealing with loss.
Yeah.
In many, many different dimensions.
And I love the bit where he gets dragged. And they say it's a boy in a Spider-Man costume dragging the corpse of a homeless man behind a train.
Yes,
which I think is wonderful.
Yeah. Jake Johnson's really good in that role as well. Speaking of, you wouldn't put his face to that particular character either. Have you seen him?
No,
in real life?
I've seen it. Yeah, no.
You wouldn't see him necessarily as Spider-Man, would you?
No, but it fits his face in the film. But
do you see that Nicholas Hoult is going to be Superman? Or is at the moment apparently being lined up to be James Gunn's Superman or something?
He?
Yeah,
okay.
A bit odd choice there. Okay.
I don't like Superman enough to care.
Okay, but
just keep Michael Keaton as Batman.
We're going to go see The Flash soon?
We are.
When's that?
Next week.
Okay.
Next week we're doing it.
Liev Schreiber, you've already mentioned as Kingpin.
Yes, I think he's brilliant.
I love the design of that character.
He's like a brick wall.
Yeah, he's a block with a tiny face on a giant head.
He's a brick wall with a little head just popped up, like in slightly just lower than his shoulders.
But it looks silly, but he's so menacing.
He is, yeah.
And they use that kind of powerful frame that he has as well to great effect.
But that's the way he should be, because Kingpin, although he's not I mean, yes, he's physically strong.
Yeah.
He has that. I mean, I suppose that's his powers and stuff, and he's got like, you know, financial power.
Yeah.
But you know, that's the way he should be. He should be a big bad.
Yeah.
Because he's Daredevil's biggest villain.
Yeah.
Kingpin.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So
that's certainly who you associate with Daredevil.
yeah, Kingpin. But I do like they did throw in a few more Spider-Man villains in this with Scorpion and Tombstone.
Yeah. You don't just get Green Goblin.
No.
You don't.
Yeah, they can put more into this.
You can take
because
it
it's
a
like
bit further.
Hollywood. The Hollywood tailors what they give. In this film, we'll give you 2. There you go. You can just have 2, and maybe you'll get the next one in the next film if it makes enough money.
Yeah. I mean, the Spot is. What is that? We'll talk about that one in a moment, I suppose. But there are some incredibly well put together, like incredibly exhilarating and really well executed action
scenes.
sequences.
Yes.
Oh my god, how good is the action in this movie?
Yeah,
and
fantastic.
also really beautifully realised, really well thought out, beautifully chaotic, but also like the editing is really good. How you go from here to there, how he uses his weight and all the rest of it.
Also, the other thing I like is you can see, even though everything is chaotic and things are shooting around, you can still see what's going on. It's not like, I don't really know.
Even at the fluctuating frame rates, you can still kind of work out what's going on.
You can still see in all the mania what's going on where, you know, you watch some films and
you have no idea what's going on.
Well, look at the Transformers films. Once the robots start fighting, what is it? It's just a load of metal, just
blur of colours.
Yeah,
isn't it? They're not we're not going to do a Transformers.
No, we're not.
But there's some comedy in there as well, such as the siege where they go to retrieve the computer.
Oh yes, that's hilarious, isn't it?
He can't work out her cluttered desktop, so he just steals the whole computer
and the monitor.
It's brilliant, and the monitor. And there's this...
He's like, we don't need that. And the bit where he tells everybody that he can't do the things on command.
Indeed.
Where he's like, I can turn invisible.
Yeah,
not on command, he can't.
It's so funny. They've really. I think it's Lord and Miller, isn't it, that did the contribute. I don't know if they wrote the whole thing, but they certainly were
definitely had a
involved
hand in
it, because you can feel their sensibilities
Yeah.
all over this. And I would probably recommend the Lego movies as a consequence of this.
They are funny. They are funny. And the bit where he gets his hand stuck to Gwen's hair. He's like, it was really nice to meet you.
The opening battle as well with. So you get the kind of fun, jovial stuff, but there's also that kind of tension as well. So the beginning, where he kind of finds himself with the collider, and there's the giant green goblin and all that kind of stuff. It's quite terrifying as well. He's being pursued by the Growler as well. Yeah. That's quite. I like the fact that But what I'm saying is, there's that kind of blend of quite funny action, but also but really
the
quite
Growler
tense.
stuff is very sort of trying to be serious, isn't it?
Indeed.
You know, it's not a. He's not a funny character.
No. And that's quite tragic as well. There's a tragic element to the Prowlers being his uncle. And
that's a shame, because I love listening to Mahershala Ali's voice.
He's got such a silky.
He's got a fantastic voice. I love Paperboy's voice as well.
Paperboy's,
Just love listening to his voice.
Yeah, so this film kind of concentrates more on the Miles and Officer Davis.
Officer Davis.
Yeah,
I'm not sure which first name is.
So this film kind of focuses more on Miles and his father Jefferson Davis's relationship.
Yes.
That kind of warring, because Officer Davis does not like.
No, he's against Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And Miles has realised, oh dear, I'm a Spider-Man.
Oh dear, I'm also a Spider-Man.
Yes.
And not only that, I'm kind of probably going to have to actually take up the mantle now that real deal Spider-Man is out of the picture. We'll talk about the other movie a bit more, but the mother kind of gets a bit of a sideline in this one, where she's more prominent in the next one.
Yeah, the parents take more of a role in the.
Well, I think Officer Davis gets a good.
I think he's got more of a role in the second one.
I think in this one.
Do you?
Yeah,
oh, okay.
He's more of a prominent character in this one, and their relationship and their respective conflict, I suppose, is a bit more. But yeah, there's that kind of story of maturity and friendship and family and all that kind of stuff.
And that Miles doesn't know what puberty is. I'm not sure you know what puberty is.
Indeed. I have two favourite bits. The big old fight at Aunt May's house.
Oh yes.
There's a good bit where she's like watching like areas of her house just getting wrecked.
Yes. Oh yes, where they're showing. You're just watching her face, and you see the stairs break.
Yeah.
And you see,
Oh no, they're trashing my house.
I like the bit where she goes, "Oh hi, Liv," and like she knows her. Like, not you again.
Indeed. I love you can understand what's going on within each.
Yeah.
You understand, despite the chaos, you can kind of still see what's going on and
Yeah.
still kind of understand what's going on. My favourite bit in the whole movie is that leap of faith.
Yes.
When he's standing atop.
Yes,
and
yeah,
he's-
yeah.
And then
And he's coming into his own, and
comes
he's
into his own
realising...
maturity. Yeah,
it's
exactly.
brilliant.
Oh,
Yeah.
and really well framed. I was going to say really well shot, but really well designed, really well executed, and just
I
beautiful.
mean, that bit's
done
really
as well.
exciting where he drops off the building, and
it goes upside down.
And he's
there's
so
that
cool
lovely-
as well. That's the thing. He's so cool.
He is so cool.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, who wouldn't love? Who doesn't love the black suited Spider-Man? It's always everybody's favourite, isn't it? Like the
Indeed.
Venom saga. It's whenever he's donning like a black outfit, it's always cool.
Indeed. Makes fun of certainly Spider-Man 3.
Yes.
I like it. It's not. Yeah, it's playful. It doesn't use it uses references and things like that
Yeah.
to support the
Yeah.
narrative.
And I just love the bit at the end with Oscar Isaac, because that bit makes no sense to you until you see the next film.
until you see what we're
And you
talking
know
about
exactly what's happening at the end of that movie, that little stinger at
Yeah.
the end, once you've seen the second movie.
Yeah.
It makes perfectly good sense. And I love Oscar Isaac, and I love the bit where he points at Spider-Man at the end.
What's your verdict?
Oh, my verdict?
This movie is big! It's very
Huge!
big. It's very big. There's 3 parts.
And I would recommend, if you like this style of animation, on Netflix there is a film called Intergalactic.
Intergalactic
Yes,
Planetary.
it's a Kid Cudi film. Yeah.
Oh, I love Kid Cudi.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yes,
What's that
and
about then? I don't know anything about it.
Well, it's kind of about like a guy that's sort of, well, he's kind of just searching for like the one in New York. It's kind of it's
a
not
love story.
it's kind of love stories.
Okay, but it uses this type
But
of...
it uses this style of animation. It's an
visual
adult
style.
type film.
Okay.
Using this kind of animation.
I'd say that this is for all ages, though, this particular film.
Yeah, but I wouldn't say Intergalactic is. I would say that
That's
was
more
for an older
people?
Yeah, maybe 13, 14 before you watch it.
I would really recommend the Lego movies.
Yeah, Lego movies.
I think
of
the
course.
Lego movies are the absolute perfect companion to this.
Yes. Yeah.
'Cause, yeah.
Yeah, they're fantastic.
Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse is a computer-animated superhero sequel set 16 months following the events of the first film. We encounter Gwen Stacy as she struggles with domestic life. Her policeman father hunts the elusive Spider-Woman, seemingly responsible for the death of this universe's Peter Parker, who has transformed himself into the villainous lizard. He is completely oblivious that Spider-Woman is actually Gwen. Meanwhile, across the Spider-Verse,
You did it. Segue.
Miles Morales struggles to juggle his education with his superhero duties and his family life. His identity means he's kind of lonely and Chris pines for his friends located across alternative dimensions, most of all Gwen Stacy, with whom he held a real bond. Enter villain the Spot.
Yes.
A villain aggrieved with Morales as Spider-Man, who can maneuver through space and time portals sort of dotted across his body. Stacy encounters an alternative universe villain named Vulture, which draws the help of alternative universe... This is going to get very, very complicated. Alternative universe Spider people Miguel O'Hara and Jessica Drew. While as Spider-Woman, Gwen's father catches her, forcing her to reveal her identity. Stacy escapes and reluctantly joins the Spider Society, which allows her to visit Morales' universe. An encounter with Spot leads Miles into Mumbattan.
It was something like that, wasn't it?
And the Spider Society, where his actions cause a catastrophic rift. Can I just say, I just absolutely love this film. Today is Saturday, and we saw it on Wednesday.
Yes.
It's been on my mind since then.
Yeah.
Very, very few films do that to me. I love the attention to detail. The themes are relatable. As
I can't wait to
in
see it
previous
again. I'd
movies.
love to see it again.
And it doesn't talk down to you.
No,
I think this is a
definitely
greatly superior film to the previous one.
Yes.
What do you think of Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse?
It's very cool and very sexy.
What was so sexy about the first one exactly?
Well, Gwen's pretty.
Okay. I mean,
Mary
to be fair,
Jane's nice.
she's probably 15, 16, so you might want to rework that.
She's a cartoon. It doesn't count.
Fine. Okay.
This film just does like what Batman did. This is the Dark Knight, isn't it?
Sure.
This is the middle chapter of our Spider.
Hopefully,
Spider-Man.
Hopefully, a very good trilogy.
I don't know how they're going to end it because the 2 episodes we've had have been so big.
Perfect.
How are they going to do it? How are they going to do it?
We'll see.
I just
again, if they've somehow topped themselves. It's an astounding technical feat.
Yes.
All over again.
Yeah.
Utilizing pioneering visual effects, a mix of visual styles, animation styles, and some live action sequences. In this as well.
Live action sequences.
Again, much like we spoke about a moment ago, each of the universes have their own unique look, feel, and art style, such as Gwen Stacy's, as you said, watercolor, pastel tinted world. Miles's pop art comic book environment, Vulture's sepia toned Renaissance ink.
It's like
style.
parchment, isn't it? Like parchment paper.
It's like a Da Vinci sketch, isn't it?
Yeah.
I
thought that was fantastic, though. I thought that design.
Oh, incredible!
For the
it's such a left field idea as well. Yeah. But also the Lego Spider-Verse that we get to.
When Miguel O'Hara says,
I was not expecting that.
You're one of the best. You're one of our best, doesn't he?
He does.
He says you're one of our best.
Each of the character designs. So just before we go on to this, but each of the character designs, there are hundreds, probably thousands of Spider-Men, Spider people.
Do you know what you'd have to do? You'd have to get this on at home and just
pause it
every
and just
2
run
seconds.
through.
Just run through it on slow mo.
They have each unique look. They have their unique feel, but they also have their own unique physicality.
Yes,
there are some. They come in all different shapes, sizes.
There's Cowboy. There's Spider-Man.
There is
with a spider horse that has a mask. You know, you've got Miguel O'Hara, who he's a vampire.
Yeah.
Because you kind of see a shadow, don't you, in the film?
Indeed.
Of like you see that he's got like fangs.
So
I think this is going to reveal itself in the 3rd film, possibly.
Oscar Isaac plays Miguel O'Hara, who is Spider-Man 2099.
2099, yeah.
He's the leader of the Spider Society.
Yeah.
Very coloured by the events of his personal life. And he's a bit. He's committed to the cause.
Yeah.
But dogmatically so.
Well, you know, it's dogmatic because he knows that if things aren't the way they are, that the universe could just come apart.
Sure.
So he says about these timelines, like the canon.
Yeah.
The canon things that happen, and there's catalysts to what makes Spider-Man.
Yeah, so there's a whole universe of many universes of Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Spider people.
Yeah.
And there are key events within
spider animals as well.
Which
spider cat.
And indeed, sure,
spider
things. But there are key
and a buggy.
But there are key moments that kind of echo through each of those lives. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's very concerned that if one were to be off, that would break the break the whole of the universe. If that makes sense.
So in a way, he's kind of a little bit like Thanos.
Well, I don't know about that, but he's
not tyrannical, but he's wanting to do a good job.
I think he's dogmatically. I understand, because you don't want that rift. You want everything to kind of work perfectly. But he does kind of wind up being the key antagonist to Miles Morales in this.
I mean, with this episode, it does clear up one thing for me, especially, is the fact that Miles Morales is not supposed to be Spider-Man.
No.
He is the anomaly, because Peter Parker, who died, who was Chris Pine, was his universe's Spider-Man, who died.
He shouldn't.
And now his universe has got 2 Spider-Men, and he shouldn't.
Yeah.
Where we find out at the end, obviously, like, there is a universe and there's no Spider-Man in it, because he is the Spider-Man of that universe. You should be.
Yeah.
Causing himself to actually become a villain.
And kind of. So there's Miguel, but there's also Jessica Drew as well, who's kind of like the second in command, I suppose.
Yeah.
Powerful and pregnant motorcycle riding.
I'm not too sure what really, like, her allegiance is really yet.
Well, she's
a bit sort of ambiguous, isn't she?
I don't know. I think she's equally committed to the cause. She's kind of like the lackey. She's not lackey, but she's kind of like the second in command, I suppose, to Miguel, who's very. Whereas he has absolutely no sense of humour whatsoever.
Yeah.
She kind of is a bit warmer.
Yeah.
So
and she sort of gives them a break, doesn't she?
Yeah.
She's not as hard on all of them. Not so tough.
Indeed. So Shamik Moore returns as Miles Morales.
Yes.
a little bit older, a little bit wiser, way more comfortable with his abilities, and a lot sassier.
Yes. He's got into that Spider-Man sort of mindset now. So he's going to have a few quips like Spider-Man. And...
yeah, gaining in his own self-confidence to an extent. He's still the awkward teenager that we all love.
Yeah.
But he's a bit sassier.
But he's having, I think this time you're realising, what an effect his life as Spider-Man and this secret is the toll it's taking on his personal life and his family. His relationship with his parents.
But he's also a bit more isolated because...
And the death of his uncle, who was his close mate.
Yeah.
He's his friend.
Indeed, yeah. He's more isolated. But he really does pine for his friends.
Because his uncle was more really like his friend than his...
A friend and a brother.
Yeah. I mean, a bit like me and my nephew, Jacob, I'm more like his friend than his uncle,
Well up, Jacob.
He doesn't realise I am the Prowler.
Oh, no. Run away. Look out for yourself, Jacob. Haley Steinfeld returns as Gwen Stacy. It's the best performance in the film.
Yes.
Gwen Stacy is greatly fleshed out here.
She is, yeah.
And
she's quite damaged as well.
Enormously so.
Yeah.
She's equally as lonely as...
lonely,
because
damaged.
of this identity.
Yeah.
But Steinfeld takes it and runs with it. It's brilliant. It's a really, really, really good performance. As we were saying, like Brian, your paper boy in the previous movie.
Boy, it's all about the paper boy.
Officer Jefferson Davis,
yes,
who was Miles' dad. Still great.
Yeah.
Though he takes a bit more. There's a lovely exchange between him and Spider-Man, Miles Morales and Spider-Man, where he doesn't know he's speaking to his son.
Oh yes, yeah. Where they're standing there, where they're looking over the
ruins.
Yeah.
Hey, officer. That's great, but he takes a bit more of a backseat in this one to Luna Lauren Velez. I'm not sure the pronunciation. Rio Morales, who is Miles' mum.
Yes, yeah.
The film absolutely benefits from that relationship, in my opinion.
Why does Miles not? Why is he not called Miles Davis?
I wondered that. Why has he got his mum's name?
Because usually, if
that's the thing, though. You would have had a black superhero called Miles Davis.
But his mum and dad are married, are they?
I believe so.
Oh, okay. Because I was just
because
very
Jessica
unusual.
Davis and Rio Morales.
Because
maybe
usually
they're not married.
Yeah, but usually, even if you're in a relationship and you have a child,
I mean, fair enough. I mean, complicated family
usually
dynamics.
the child takes the father's name, especially if you're together with him.
Absolutely. It's a bit strange, but at the same time, it would have been quite glorious if you would have had,
wouldn't it?
A black superhero named Miles Davis.
It's been very on the nose.
A bit on the nose. So, Jason Schwartzman.
Oh, let's talk about Spot. Let's
Please,
talk about Spot.
by all means.
Right. I had no idea about Spot.
Never heard of him.
But I've seen the Spider-Man 94.
Okay.
I think it's the Spider-Man television show 94.
Sure.
The Spot appears in that, so I have some knowledge of him.
Never seen it.
No, I have seen
no idea
Spot
about
before.
this particular.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I know that he is an interdimensional, travelling creature. That he uses his spots to portal,
go through time and space. And
he uses them a bit like Doctor Strange, doesn't he? In his sort of his sling ring
but
thing.
Way cooler.
Yeah, but way cooler. Yeah. I love Jason Schwartzman because I just love him. I think he's a great actor.
He's the most relatable actor you've ever seen.
He's wonderful, and I just love how clumsy and
awkward,
stupid and awkward and
yeah.
They've even made his body awkward if you look when you
walk.
He's all sort of
off proportion. Isn't he? He's still trying to work his body out.
Walks on the slant.
Yeah, he was an Alchemax scientist.
Yes.
Who was transformed during the climax of the previous film. His body is covered in these interdimensional portals. Just to give some background to our audience as to who he is, he's bitter and he's completely psychotic.
Yes, he wants to be taken as a big bad, and Miles calls him the villain of the week.
He does.
Which actually he creates that villain, doesn't he?
He does.
By doing that.
He disregards him to the point.
Yeah.
And then, much like Morales in the previous movie, he kind of works himself out over the course of this one and becomes mega powerful.
Yeah.
I love how when he's having one of his little episode-y things, when he's becoming more and more powerful and becoming more and more psychotic, it goes scribbly.
Yes, yeah. He turns black and scribbly.
Scribbly.
Yeah.
Really frantic and chaotic. I love that. I mean, you offset that with the beginning where he's really awkwardly trying to steal a bank machine.
Oh, an ATM. I love the bit where Miles goes, "What do they call an ATM machine?"
Yeah, because
The M is the machine.
Yeah. It's like pin number. The N is.
Yeah,
is
and Indian
number.
Spider-Man says about the chai tea, doesn't he?
He does. Don't call
It's
it
like saying TT.
TT. So what do you think of Danny Kaye's Hobie Brown Spider-Punk?
I do like him.
Love it.
Oh, he's so relaxed though, hasn't he? He's got like this relaxed sort of don't give a damn
Punk.
swag about it.
Yeah, well, he's punk. He really,
yeah.
yeah.
And I love the way he looks. He looks like newspaper.
Yeah, he's got that kind of punk flyer
Printed.
Because
Sometimes he goes
Sex
black
Pistol.
and white. He goes black and white in words like newsprint.
Yeah. He's very much of that kind of punk era, though.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
To be honest, he doesn't really care what happens in the Spider-Verse, does he?
Well, that's the thing. He's part of the Spider Society.
He doesn't
he's still
care.
completely anti-establishment.
Yeah.
Um,
But what I mean is, when things sort of turn pear-shaped at the end of the film, he just walks away, doesn't he?
Well, he walks away, but he's part of the establishment, but completely anti-establishment.
Yeah.
So he does give Gwen Stacy that bracelet so that she can continue to. I love that character.
Her father, Captain Stacy, or not Captain, is he at this time? He's Lieutenant.
He's Lieutenant.
Refers to him as a piece of work.
He does. He's a real piece of work.
He was a real piece of work. Well, you know, I love Daniel Kaluuya. Kaluuya. No, I love him. Yeah. I mean, I think they all bring
Danny Kaye.
Yeah, they all bring something. Each person, even if you don't know their voice, like it's not distinctive.
Yeah,
they bring something to each character.
If I didn't already know going in, I think you actually, because we saw it at the cinema where before the movie starts, there's a message played by the cinema to say, like, please turn your phones off
and please be quiet.
And it's Daniel Kaluuya over in British cinemas.
Yes. And he goes like, "Let's do this.
Let's do this." And if you hadn't have said like, "Oh, Daniel Kaluuya's in this movie," I wouldn't have known. To be fair, I don't think I would have picked that it was Daniel Kaluuya doing that voice.
No.
It would have been just British actor.
Yeah.
But he again, his performance is absolutely fantastic. The performances in this movie are stellar.
Yeah. And even the performances, actually, by the animation, I noticed like Miles's face. Yeah. There's times where you look at it and it's so full of expression.
Yeah.
And emotion,
especially during that scene where he meets alternate version of himself.
Yes,
he's got the tied back hair and all that kind of stuff. He looks scary as hell.
Yeah. I mean, I can't wait to see what happens.
Okay,
because there's also a scene there in the film. You know, he's got the braids.
Yeah.
There's a scene where when there's the explosion from the collider, you see the back shot of like a black and white drawing.
Yeah.
And the boy's got braids.
Well spotted.
So did Miles, because Miles could see into the futures and that, couldn't he?
He could.
Did Miles see him already? He was seeing the place he was going to...
Foreshadowing.
Yeah, foreshadowing where he was going to go.
Wow.
Yeah.
Again, this movie rocks and rolls at 200 miles an hour. It's difficult to... I think it's one of those movies that requires, much like the previous film, requires... And I think you'd enjoy it. Repeat viewings.
Multiple viewings.
Do
you know what I would love to do? I would literally love to have a day when all the films come out and just watch them back to back.
Yeah. But you'd still have to re-watch them back to back as well, because there's so much going on.
Yeah.
And it's loaded to the gills with Easter eggs and Marvel references.
There's a lot of fan service. You are gonna, if you like fan service, this is really gonna get you off.
Right. The Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield universes are actually included in this.
Yeah, that was fan service for me.
Yeah, and it's nice to see Donald Glover.
Oh, that was one of my favourite bits. That was one of my favourite.
I love Donald Glover.
And they actually made that suit for him. That prowess, because he plays Aaron Davis in Homecoming.
The Tom Holland.
Yeah. So I thought it was brilliant. They made a whole costume for him and everything. Childish Gambino there.
I love how the movie starts a couple of times.
What do you mean?
So each universe has its own narrative going on.
Oh, I see. Yeah. So we follow Gwen at the beginning.
You have a beginning for Gwen.
Yeah.
And then when you get past that, you have a beginning for Miles as well, don't you? So I like that, because each universe would have its own narrative going on.
Do you think in the third one we'll see Peter B. Parker's, like, for his sort of...
Possibly. It's nice to see Peter B. Parker return for this one.
Yes,
it's nice that he's got his life turned around.
Yes, with baby.
Adorable baby.
Adorable Mary Jane baby, Spider-Girl.
Dad to the most maniac daughter you've ever seen in your life. But it's just, again, it benefits from that.
She's going into the family business, isn't she?
So there is real weight to this film, both emotionally and how the various characters traverse the various environments.
Yeah.
Each of the characters is given time and are fleshed out.
Yes.
And they are enduring.
And it's also given time to breathe.
Given time to
So
breathe.
it's not just all this maniac action and...
Yeah, how refreshing is it
Yeah.
to have a movie breathe, but
Just
also
stop for a
to
minute.
balance out with that frenetic... There are some chaotic sequences in this, but it does say, like, hey now, you know,
Yeah, it pulls back.
Pull back.
And then you get, some more stuff. I mean, like, Miles's mother is fleshed out a bit more in this.
And it benefits from all that.
Yeah, of course it does.
Because you get mum's perspective.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
The family dynamics are fleshed out. The superhero statuses. Each character, are enduring their own challenges.
Yeah.
And I like that. There are many spider people spread across countless universes, and each of them share fundamental similarities.
Yes, they all have to go through certain trials throughout their life to make them the hero that they are.
Yeah.
And if that doesn't happen, then there's some kind of error in space-time.
Yeah.
Which would cause it to collapse, perhaps, I presume.
Yeah, it's weird to have a spider society where everybody's an awkward.
Yeah,
twerp.
but I suppose this is like this with every superhero thing where they talk about multiverses. It's like Batman. If his parents don't get killed, he won't become Batman.
No,
he'll just become well-adjusted, rich millionaire Bruce Wayne. You know,
twerpy millionaire.
Yeah,
but you get a sense of that in the recent Batman as well with Pattinson's Batman. He's a bit of a twerp.
Well, yeah, he is.
He's
a bit of a
rich
rich boy, isn't he?
He is, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's quite nice. But what I love about this is that there's a great big Spider-Verse of every conceivable thing.
Yes.
Every conceivable gender, every conceivable race, every conceivable height, weight, shape, whatever. They're all awkward.
Yeah.
But it makes it more, ever so slightly more relatable, because you could probably say, I relate to your awkwardness, but I also relate to the fact that you're this type of spider thing.
And I love the way they included Ben Reilly, the Scarlet Spider.
That's Andy Samberg, isn't it?
Is it?
Isn't it?
Oh, I love Andy Samberg.
He's the most overly dramatic.
He's so dramatic, isn't he?
He's so good.
Because I think he's from the Scarlet Spider 90s cartoon.
Possibly, I'm not aware.
Because I think that's where they took, because Ultimate Spider-Man was in this cartoon.
He was.
He comes because he's quite short, isn't he? I just love all. It's just it's such a joy to watch.
But it's also good and it's soulful because you can relate. It's so relatable. I love that thought. Again, Lord and Miller. I think of just.
This film has just been so the story has just been so thought out.
Yeah.
Well thought out.
Yeah.
And they know where they're going with it. So obviously they had a plan for all this, and they knew exactly where this story was going.
Yeah.
And I mean, you know what happens to films where they don't know where they're going, and we end up with the sequel trilogy, don't we, of Star Wars?
Well, that. Even some of the most recent Marvel Universe movies,
they don't know where they're going.
They start shooting without a finished script.
Yeah, this multiverse saga doesn't know where the hell it's going. No,
this does.
Yeah, this knows exactly where it's going, and this is why people are loving it, because it's thought out, it's executed, and.
It's thought out, it's meticulously detailed and well executed. It's incredibly soulful. It's as I say, there's a million,
and I think they've got brilliant
spider
actors,
people within this Spider-Verse.
Brilliant actors as well.
Also relatable
to voice them. They haven't just gone out and gone, do you know who the hottest property is right now?
Yeah,
let's get them.
Let's get Chris Pratt.
No. You've got Mahershala Ali, who is not the world's biggest, most famous.
He's a hell of an actor.
He's a great actor.
And he brings that weight and that voice and that personality to that role. Oscar Isaac does exactly the same.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, he's the only one that you would actually say is the biggest sort of...
Probably out of all of them.
Out of all of them.
Is the
Daniel
name.
Kaluuya is also...
Daniel Kaluuya is as well. You could probably argue that Haley Steinfeld having the Bumblebee movie or Bumblebee movies.
But I mean, they're so well cast for those roles, and they're not just shoving, hey, let's just get Brad Pitt to do Peter B. Parker,
well, it's the same
or
thing with like Chris Pratt.
yeah,
you
know, like where they
easily have
pilch
had
like all
Chris-
these directors. Oh, this is the hottest director. Let's make him have a Star Wars movie or a Marvel movie and that.
Yeah.
And you're just like, well, why are you getting a Marvel movie just because you made a good film?
Right. I mean,
Does it mean you're suited to this?
Absolutely.
Is Taika Waititi really suited to make a Star Wars film?
not really, but he's the hot thing, isn't he?
I mean, he wasn't even really suited to make another Thor film.
no, not at all.
No,
That
because
fourth,
he fell right on his face.
that fourth Thor movie, Thor 4, is an absolute travesty.
And Chris Hemsworth apparently is now talking about unless they do something
Unless they
radically
really
with him, he's not coming back.
Because wasn't one of his children making fun of it?
I know one of his children's in the film. His little girl's in that film. Did they?
Didn't Chris Hemsworth? It's a
I don't know
complete
this.
aside, but it does kind of,
Yeah.
I suppose, relate into the fact that this is a really well thought movie.
Yeah.
Whereas the recent Thor 4 was not a particularly well thought out movie. But didn't I believe I read one of Chris Hemsworth's kids watched it with Chris Hemsworth and said like, this is really stupid.
Well, it is, isn't it?
But I think they're trying to appeal to that demographic.
Yeah.
And when that demographic is saying this is really stupid,
Yeah.
you've got a bit of a problem on your hands.
You have. And at least in this, like, they changed the characters.
Yeah.
Like, for example, in the first film, there's Scorpion and there's...
Yeah, there is, yeah.
There's Green Goblin, who does not look like regular Green Goblin.
No, he's a giant...
So,
sorry.
so you can still change the look of... Like, Gore, you could still change the look of him, but he was rubbish. Christian Bale's Gore was rubbish. He didn't look like Gore. He didn't even look like somebody who looked like Gore, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, where these characters, they're still, they're still Scorpion. They've changed the design, but it's still Scorpion, And you've got Spot. Spot looks slightly different. I mean, there's not much you can do with Spot, but...
I thought the character designs are fantastic, and again, they have their own visual style.
Yes. Yeah.
Out of curiosity, I cannot remember a damn thing of... I only saw it once, to be fair. No Way Home. Is Scorpion in that? Because they set up Scorpion at the end of Homecoming, right?
No, he's not in it.
He's
not.
Far Cry 3 guy, isn't he?
Yes, he's not in.
Isn't he?
He's not in No Way Home.
Isn't he Voss or whatever his name is in Far Cry 3?
Is he?
Isn't he Voss? Anyway, but he's not, because he chats to Michael Keaton at the end of the first one.
Yes,
right?
of Homecoming. Yeah.
He's not in the other movies, is he?
No, I don't think so. No.
What was the point?
No.
There might be a Spider-Man 4, I suppose. Who knows? Well, I suspect there will be because money. Just to get back into the movie, there's a talk about the mix of original score and incredible needle drops in the previous one. This has got exactly the same.
Yeah.
There's some great needle drops, and Daniel Pemberton's score is excellent.
Yeah. Although this one doesn't have Sunflower.
I would argue that this movie doesn't necessarily have a signature theme.
Yes.
Whereas it
like the other one, like you go, what's up, Danger? That's
Right.
And you're my sunflower.
It doesn't. There's no harm either way because
No.
it's still brilliant. I probably would have liked a signature theme though. Did you notice when we saw it at the cinema, there were songs going on in it, and there was a young lady sat in front of us who kept. Did you not notice? The
Oh
young lady-
yes, she was checking what the song was, wasn't she?
She kept bringing out her phone.
Was she getting Shazam out?
She was getting Spotify out.
Oh, right.
And adding like those songs to her Spotify playlist.
Oh, that's what she was doing.
That was really weird.
Because I did see
She kept
somebody
pulling out her phone.
Yeah.
To put those songs into her Spotify.
Why not just go on the internet later and go
Can you not just do it
Spider-Man
later?
Across the Spider-Verse soundtrack
Right.
and
If
just
it-
find out what's in it?
If she got like a 3-second memory or something, can she just not remember? Oh, I need to put that song on there. Anyway.
Well, look, I've got no notes, and I'm just talking about the film I saw 3 or 4 days ago.
a couple of days ago, yeah, it's still resonating in my head. The cliffhanger ending. Again, this is the second part of the trilogy.
I didn't know it was going to have a cliffhanger ending, so
didn't.
I was really pleased
might
about that.
be divisive to some viewers, though, right?
Right.
But I mean, yeah, any film that leaves you craving more.
Yeah.
Not a bad thing. You came out of the cinema that we came out saying like, I can't wait for like April or whatever it is.
No.
Until the next movie
Yeah.
is released.
I can't wait to see what happens.
Indeed.
I really can't. Because what they've done so far, I don't think they're going to let people down.
No.
I think this is going to be the greatest Spider-Man trilogy ever.
I think it is already going that way.
Yeah.
We're waiting to see whether or not Beyond is a complete disaster. I suspect it won't be because of who's involved.
Yeah. And I also think that Haley Steinfeld said that she hasn't started recording yet, so we don't know if, like she said, I haven't recorded my part yet for the new movie. So I don't know whether it actually will come out in March, April next year. But the thing is, if they need to push it back, they'll push it back. until
please
it's
take
finished.
your time on it. Yeah,
Yeah.
please take your time.
Release
on
it in August, or release it the year after.
But
it
would suggest that she's got a slightly more diminished role in the third one if she's only
possibly. Yeah,
if they haven't started really doing her stuff yet.
Yeah,
It would
possibly.
suggest that, yeah.
I don't
fair
know.
enough. She's so well fleshed out and so good in this. I don't mind if she takes a slight back seat in the third one. To be fair,
She probably will. Do you know what I think will take the front? That will be more at the front of this one. I think Miguel O'Hara. I think his backstory we're going to find out more.
I think
about.
you're going to see a bit more of Schwartzman as well.
Yeah. I think we'll see more him, and we'll also see more of Spider-Man 2099, and maybe find out about this vampire thing.
Yeah.
And the difference. You know, he's got this slightly different power to everybody else. Like Miles can turn invisible and that, and electric.
He'll unlock another ability potentially.
He's going to unlock. He might. You don't know.
Just leveling up in every movie.
Leveling up. You know, you can get Miles Morales in Fortnite. You know, talking of leveling up.
God, is
You
it
can
voiced by Shamik Moore or?
No, he doesn't have a voice, but you can get Miles and you can get Spider-Man 2099 in it.
I remember you going crazy in the cinema saying like, "There's Optimus Prime in the new Fortnite."
There is.
Wow.
There is.
Okay, is it? So verdict.
We were talking about Fortnite because Miles Morales is in Fortnite because they did a thing with the new Spider-Man. They did a promotion with it. So.
Sure, that's lovely. If you love
Shout out to all you Fortnite fans out there.
Oh God. But just before we get into the
Yeah.
recommendations, the action sequences are just as amazing in this as well.
The one where he's on the train going to the moon in New York.
Yeah.
All those Spider-Men coming after
Like
him,
chasing him.
and he's shooting up that train rocket thing.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
But also the chase through the city itself.
Oh, the Mumhattan?
The Mumbattan.
Mumbattan, yeah.
Yeah.
That is fantastic, that scene. It's brilliant.
Just visually
Visually spectacular.
and order.
Yeah.
Just a sensory experience that.
This film will blow you away. I cannot see anybody watching this film and going,
Do you think it's all
that
a bit
was
too
rubbish.
much? Do you think it's all a bit too much though?
I would say for me, sometimes the onslaught of too much.
Yeah.
I'm not actually sure if I could watch, like 2 films back to back.
Or-
I think I need a break.
Yeah, you need to
Maybe over a couple of nights.
Yeah, just
or
space it
maybe
over.
over a week. Watch them.
Okay.
Because
to let them digest
yeah,
it.
and just let them sink into your brain because it's so much information being pushed into your eyes.
Yeah.
And not just your eyes. You've also got what the characters are saying. You've got bits that come up on the screen with the little meanwhile and other bits.
Yeah, there are comic moments
It's,
again.
Yeah, it's all a lot of everything all at once to take in.
Everything everywhere.
That's what this film should be called.
And it's a multiverse as well.
It is.
I think it's big and I thoroughly recommend it.
I think it's
I'd
big.
say please watch Into as well and
Yes.
please watch the Lego movies if you're into this
Yes.
kind of thing.
And I mean, we can mention Everything Everywhere All at Once if you're looking for
Might be a
like
nice little
multiple.
companion. Yeah, sure.
Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness.
Sure,
perhaps.
if you're into those types of multiverse stories.
They don't do it better.
I think this does it way better.
This does it way better.
This
yeah.
does it way better than an Oscar-winning
Yes.
Everything Everywhere.
Yeah. I do think so. I'm sorry. I mean, for anyone that loves that film,
It's a fine film. It wasn't my cup of tea,
I liked it.
but
I've watched it once.
I do
so-
respect that it's a good movie.
Yeah.
I know it's a really enjoyable movie as well.
Yeah.
It's certainly every bit as. I just think this just has more emotional weight than that one.
I think Marvel just needs to watch what other films are doing and go, right, this film with the multiverse won an Oscar. This film, Spider-Man, is doing fantastic and got huge
watch these
fanship.
films. Yeah.
Why don't we do this with our MCU?
Yeah. Well,
Because other people are doing it better.
because they just rush things into production without a script.
Yeah.
Without
And I mean, when we
plan.
see The Flash, we might come out of that and go,
yeah.
wow, DC did it better.
Yeah, the Flash is about to drop,
Yeah.
isn't it? As we said.
So we'll just wait and see.
see.
I mean,
Yeah, I don't know
Marvel,
what that
you
one-
need to step up your game if DC are doing it better than you.
Yeah. Well, no, Feige, you need to watch these movies. And appreciate the fact that when you sit down and actually plan things,
Do you know what I would
and you
prefer?
put real creative
Yeah.
people, and you allow them to sort of gestate as well. You allow them to kind of form.
Take your time making the
You don't
movies
need
as
to-
well.
I think the shareholders presumably need paying, so they need to rattle these movies out. But look how much it benefits.
Yes, and quit with the TV shows so much. Forget
Yeah,
about
it's a
that.
bit weird that they're doing that,
Focus
to be
on the
fair.
films.
Yeah.
I mean, I can understand them doing TV shows for if they're going to form an Avengers.
But at the same
or
time, you were saying wow, WandaVision was the best thing at the beginning of
Yes,
this.
yes.
Yeah. Don't mind a couple, but
Yeah.
when you've got like 10 coming in a year or something or other, like, no, mate.
And I think it was a wrong decision to make She-Hulk a head of a program.
Didn't see it.
Put her in something with Hulk.
Okay.
Don't make her the
Is Hulk not in the show?
Hulk is in the show,
Right.
but she's still the star of the show.
Okay.
Hulk's in a bit of it.
Sort of draw.
He sort of comes in and
with
out
Hulk.
of it.
Okay. Okay.
Hulk comes in and out.
Right. Okay.
So, but give him characters. If these are lesser characters people don't know, introduce them into a film or into a show slowly, instead of.
Done. That's what they did do over the course of the MCU prior to
Yes,
Endgame.
and they need to get back to that. This is why it's all falling apart, I think.
Right.
And they're not writing them.
very
Don't
poorly-
start a film without a script.
They're very, very poorly written and very poorly realised. Whereas,
Are you going to release a book without chapters? Or I've just got to the next chapter. The writers forgot. I can't write this bit yet. He hasn't written it.
okay. Well, I know you're listening, Kevin Feige. So join us again in the next episode.
Kevin Feige on the phone. You're all going to die. Oh dear. Well, that's it. He's put a hit out on us.
Fundamentally, just allow look how well it works out when you allow these things to sort of gestate
Yes.
and flourish and come
And
together.
take a look at stuff that is doing better than what you're doing, and just take notes.
It's the same studio. It's still Marvel Studios.
I know it's
though.
Marvel. It's all Marvel, but how could it be so different?
We'll see. But yeah, thoroughly recommended.
I would recommend Spider-Man films
Okay.
because if you're a fan of Spider-Man, check out the Spider-Man films.
Yeah, you don't really need to because they're referenced in this. And you
Well,
can
they
kind
are.
of get the gist of what's going on in those.
Yes. But if you're like me, you'll like the OG Spider-Man
Right.
ones with
Right.
Tobey Maguire.
How do you feel about the Andrew Garfield?
I'm not a fan.
I remember
I like Andrew. It's funny. I like Andrew Garfield as Spider-Man, but
Sure.
I don't like his films.
those films are not,
And I just
not
felt
so great.
so sorry for him because I thought you're actually a really good Spider-Man, and if they gave you a really good film to be in
Yeah.
that didn't look like a video game, because you remember you said when the Amazing Spider-Man first came out that you said most of it just looks like I'm watching a video game.
It looks like a cut sequence.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
a parkour cut sequence.
Yeah, yeah. I
mate,
don't think
not-
Andrew
not
Garfield
right.
really got his dues with that. So,
Well,
and he's one of us Brits as well. So come on, we've got to take him under our wing, haven't we? We've got to show him support.
Tom Holland is one of us Brits as well.
I know, but I don't like him as much. Sorry, Tom.
Join us again on the next episode as we discuss Quentin Tarantino's Inglourious Bastards and The Hateful Eight. I was John, he was Jason. You can find me on Letterboxd. I am Rat Bastard. You are...
Kerja_Relon. That is KERJA_RELON.
Somebody forgot their username just then, didn't they?
They did. I just had an Alzheimer's moment.
Oh dear.
You put me on the spot. On the spot!
Oh, one of his spots. You can find us on social media.
Yes, Cinemattraction_podcast on Instagram.
Be excellent to each other.
Yes.
Okay,
And thank you for listening.
Okay, lady. Bye-bye.
Okay.
I'm back! I'm back! My back. Oh, my back.